Ever wondered why a tiny West African nation, Guinea-Bissau, is a linchpin in the global drug trade? Well, it's all about location. Nestled on the coast, Guinea-Bissau is perfectly positioned for smuggling cocaine from South America to Europe and Africa. Enter General Antonio Injai, an African drug lord who may not be as infamous as his South American counterparts. But his influence is no less significant. Harnessing his military and state connections, General Antonio took control of this lucrative smuggling route, raking in millions. But how did General Antonio rise to such a powerful position? General Antonio, a name not as infamous as his South American counterparts, yet his influence on the drug trade is no less significant. In the world of drug cartels, General Antonio Injai of Guinea-Bissau carved out a niche for himself. His rise to power was not marked by flamboyant displays of wealth or ruthless violence, but by shrewd manipulation of his military and political connections. Strategically positioned, Guinea-Bissau served as a perfect transit point for smuggling cocaine from South America to Europe and Africa. Recognizing this, General Antonio leveraged his influence within the military and state apparatus to take control of this lucrative trade route. It was an operation that was as audacious as it was profitable. This wasn't just about controlling a smuggling route. General Antonio was building an empire. The profits from this operation didn't just line his pockets, they bought him loyalty, power, and most importantly, protection. It was a masterful play, one that turned Guinea-Bissau into a key player in the global drug trade and made General Antonio a multimillionaire. However, such operations could not remain unnoticed for long. With the immense flow of narcotics and the money that followed, it was only a matter of time before the world's law enforcement agencies turned their attention to this small African nation and its shadowy puppet master. The DEA, catching wind of Antonio's illicit operations, began planning a sting. The operation was intricate, involving informants posing as members of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, a militant group known as FARC, which funded its operations through narcotics. These informants approached Antonio, along with other military officials, with a proposal. They would exchange cocaine for weapons, including missiles, assault rifles, and grenade launchers. Antonio, according to a U.S. indictment, agreed to this deal. He even offered to store FARC's drugs in Guinea-Bissau and set up a phony company to cover their tracks. The military would then conceal the drugs in shipments of army uniforms, facilitating the transfer of hundreds of kilograms overseas. The DEA planned to trap Antonio on a yacht, but their strategy unraveled. Antonio, known for his paranoia, sent another in his place, a move that led to the capture of José Américo Bubo Nachuto, the leader of Guinea-Bissau's navy, but left Antonio untouched. Despite the setback, Antonio's reign was far from over. Antonio, despite losing his military job, continues to walk free in Guinea-Bissau. After his narrow escape from the DEA's sting operation, Antonio retreated to a life of perceived normalcy, splitting his time between his home in the capital and a cashew farm in the countryside. But appearances can be deceptive. His influence on the military remains significant, with half the army sharing his ethnic origin and remaining loyal to him. The government, fearing a potential rebellion, has refused to extradite him to the United States. This leaves Antonio, one of the largest and free drug cartels, to operate with near impunity. To this day, General Antonio remains a symbol of the complex and troubling issues surrounding the global drug trade. Despite the roadblocks, the United States continues to seek justice, placing a significant bounty on Antonio's head. In an unprecedented move, the U.S. State Department has offered a reward of $5 million for information leading directly to Antonio's arrest or conviction. This bounty, one of the largest ever offered, signifies the seriousness of the U.S. in combating international drug trafficking. But will this bounty bring about the end of Antonio's reign, or will he continue to evade the long arm of the law? The future of Guinea-Bissau's drug trade hangs in the balance, and only time will tell how this story unfolds.